Hey everybody, welcome to another segment of Smarterfan podcast, where we're bringing you behind the veil of sports, business, and life. I'm Joe, and this is Barry. What's going on, Barry?
Ooh, it's cooking, my friend. I'm doing good. Feeling good. Got a good workout in the gym today. Got in the sauna. I'm gonna get in the pool, and I was in the steam room. So it was a good day. Ate some good food, and here on Smarterfan podcast, and I took a step on our merchandise. So pretty soon we will have official Smarterfan merchandise for sale.
Okay.
So I've been working, Joe.
Good. All right.
What you got going? What you got tonight?
Well, Saturday I went to the first annual Malcolm Koonce youth football camp.
Oh,
and yeah, it was at Archbishop Stepinac High School in White Plains, because that's where he went to high school.
Okay.
And they had a really nice turnout. They had a lot of, a lot of kids. They had 3 age groups. They had 6 to 8, 9 to 11, and 12 to 14. And what they basically did was they had a bunch of drill stations set up, and they had coaches at each one, and they used the scoreboard clock to time everybody. And they did it, I think, in 10-minute intervals for each drill. So they had the kids do 10 minutes of stretches. Then they had them go through these drills, and they had them. They were doing like the shuttle run. They had them doing the 40-yard dash. They were timing them, and some kids came up with 4 9s.
Sure.
So I was impressed, and then they did some one-on-ones where they had a defender and a receiver, and they were throwing them passes. So it was really a good, and the weather was beautiful, so you couldn't ask for a better day.
Nice.
Yeah, and they had a 50-50 raffle. I believe the main prize was $500, and the winner got $250, and the school got $250.
Okay.
Yeah. So it was well organized, I have to say.
Nice.
Malcolm and his family, they did an excellent job of organizing this whole thing, and the kids were happy.
That's what you want.
And he had an ice cream truck with free ice cream.
Nice.
The kids ate free. They had hot dogs and hamburgers for the kids, and the parents, they could get like a food ticket, and get the food. They just paid a certain amount. I guess it was like a donation. And so and I got to meet him at the end of the day, and I got to talk to him for a few minutes. He's very down to earth.
Nice.
He's a really, really nice young man. He's very humble, and he's just happy to be giving back to the community.
Nice.
So all in all, it was a really nice day, and I really had a good time. But yeah, it was just great. I have to say it was really a good day.
Well, that's your element, man. You always shine in those elements. So I'm glad you had a good time. Glad you got to make that connect. And hopefully this is the beginning of a relationship we can have with him, and eventually get him on Smarterfan podcast and have another conversation.
Yes. I actually did tell him about our podcast, and he said he was going to check it out when he got a chance.
And if you get a chance to talk to his dad and so forth, I am working on some things behind the scene. And maybe not, if certain things come together, this season we'll maybe get to go out there and see him playing at the stadium. So share that with him as well, that we may come out and see him at a Raiders game.
Sounds like a plan.
Which would be a great time.
Yeah, yeah. So this past weekend also was the WNBA All-Star game.
Ooh,
And
let me shut my mouth.
man,
Ooh,
man,
ooh.
I mean, they made Team USA look bad. I'm telling you. I mean, after Cheryl Miller called out Anika Ogunbowale, she went out in the second half and torched them.
That girl put on a clinic.
I'm telling you, man, she put up 34 points in the second half, 21 in the third quarter.
Cooking them.
I said, man, oh man,
I'm
Go
ahead.
yeah. I mean, it was everything she just threw up went in, no matter where she was. She just threw it up, it went in.
She's been doing that all season. She's been cooking people all season.
Yeah,
He was cooking them in college, and she's cooking them now. She's cooking the same poke that she was cooking in college. They ain't got nothing for her. They call her the Kyrie Irving. Shannon Sharp was talking about he was at the game. He said, folks, what they show you on TV, he said, makes it appear that she had open shots. Nah. She had people in her face. She had people trying to drag her down. She had people all over her. They couldn't do nothing with her.
Nope.
They could not do anything with her.
And you know who was feeding her the ball?
Who? Caitlin. I'm gonna have to call Caitlin Magic. That girl can pass. You hear me?
She had 10 assists in the game.
That girl can pass. Oh,
and then and Angel, she recorded a double-double in the All-Star game, the first rookie to do that. I'm telling you.
Take this.
Her and Caitlin are Bird and Magic.
That's what they are.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what they are. And I'm telling you right now, Team USA is licking their wounds. They're like, oh, we made a big mistake. We made a big error. And this is what happens. I don't mean to cut you. This is what happens when you don't understand the time you're in.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, for 2 years, you've watched these two young ladies do something that you haven't seen in at least 10, 20 years. Right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I'm just so glad this happened because it's going to be interesting to see what happens from this. Because I'll tell you one thing, they don't come home with gold, there's going to be a problem.
Well, they said that the last time the All-Stars beat them, they brought the gold home.
Well,
so
it's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting. Mm-hmm. But they got a dumb young girl. I keep trying to tell people, this new crop are different.
Yes.
They remind me of them young ladies back in the 90s. Swoops and all them.
Mm-hmm.
And the comments of Houston. Nah.
Yeah.
Those ladies. Whew, and these are the second coming. These are the second coming.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, speaking of the business of sports, the commissioner said they're talking about going from a 40-game schedule to a 44-game schedule.
In the WNBA?
Yes.
Yeah, because the money's there. The money.
Oh, it's coming. It's coming.
Oh, yeah. That's why they're talking about that. That's the money.
Yeah. Yeah, because they've seen the highest attendance in 26 years. With record viewership and a surge in merchandise. Now this dudes walk around now with what WNBA jerseys on.
Listen, I ain't ashamed. I got my LSU women's basketball hoodie for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. What?
So, and they're still talking about adding more games because you got Golden State and Toronto coming in the next 2 years.
Oh, it's going to happen.
So, and also in the works is a $2.2 billion media deal that's going to be for 11 years.
Oh, yeah. It's probably more like 5, 6. But yeah.
So,
that money's... Oh, yeah. Oh.
So that's in the works, you know. Now, switching gears a bit, Kevin Durant, he practiced for the first time since they started basketball camp for the Olympics.
Okay.
So, you know, coming off because of that calf injury he had.
Yeah.
Now, isn't this the same calf injury that led to his torn Achilles in the first place?
It may be. And I think that's why they've handled him the way they've handled him, so he's not straining it unnecessarily.
Yeah.
And you know, I mean, he's getting older, you know, so you got to take some precautions. And you know, I think that's just smart.
Well, they're gonna need him. They're gonna need him.
Well, they're gonna need him, and they're gonna need the coaches to coach because they got enough bodies, and they're gonna need to coach and stop being lazy.
Yeah, because these last 2 games, LeBron had to bail him out.
That's my point.
You know,
which is lazy coaching, because Kerr is trying. I keep seeing it. Steph is 35. As you're not going to be able to go. You're not going to be able to do that. And you're going to have to go young.
Yeah.
And I don't know if Kerr is smart enough to realize that.
Well,
go
ahead.
The way these teams are playing, most of these teams are younger than what we have. And so I don't know if Kerr realizes, you know, LeBron can't do that every game to bail you out.
Right.
Anthony, this is the laziness. This is the laziness.
Well, my question is, why isn't Jaylen Brown on that team? The NBA Finals MVP. Why isn't he on that team?
I think that's personal. And it may cost them.
Yeah.
Because
Derek White.
Yeah, it's those kind of decisions. Because, you know, it's just not smart basketball. And again, with someone like Ant, and some they got some players over there too.
They do.
Why aren't you letting these young boys ball?
Yeah.
Ball.
I just remember
if you let them play the first quarter, first half, then bring in the old heads. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But you know, I'm trying to tell you right now. I keep trying to tell you. Everybody's watching tape of what South Sudan did.
Yeah.
And I we may be lucky to come home with a bronze, bro.
Yeah. That's what I'm thinking.
I'm really serious. People are like, "Barry, you crazy?" I said, "Nah, you're not going to be able to put this on a 35-year-old Steph who can't guard anybody.
No,
he's never been able to guard anybody, right? But
yeah.
So what are you going to do with a 22, 27-year-old like that kid that was the 3-time G League MVP? My man was putting on a clinic. He got nothing. He's tape. Bop, 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 and go right by him. Steph can't do nothing with him.
No.
So again, why am I not playing Ant-Man? Why am I not? Anyway, let me be quiet.
Well, switching gears a bit, Robo-Ump is coming. Okay.
Who?
Robo-Ump. This is a new experiment they're doing in the commissioner wants to test it in spring training next year. It's where they have a computerized umpire who's going to call the balls and strikes, and the umpire is just going to relay it. You know, the plate umpire is still going to be there, but he's going to have an earpiece. So, but they're having issues with it because they can't define exactly what the strike zone is for the computer. So that's one of the issues they're having. And what they did was they've been working with the system in the minor leagues along with the challenge system, and they adopted the challenge system ultimately, which is where the teams have a limited number of calls that they can get reviewed as far as balls and strikes are concerned. So that's what they've been working with. But the commissioner, nonetheless, he wants to use the Robo-Ump in spring training to try to work out the kinks. So,
okay.
well, we'll have to see how that goes. So, NBA Africa, what is that about?
Well, I got the opportunity to watch a series of kind of the business of sports in different areas. And I have been following, because I actually was very fortunate as a senior in high school to go to Senegal as a senior trip and actually got to play with some players in Senegal. And the level of play, because I was a high school varsity player, the level of play was amazing. So it wasn't shocking for me to see Olajuwon and just see the proliferation of players from Africa playing. And I was just cracking up when I was watching the Southern Sudan and how the announcers acted like this was some charity event. And I was just sitting there going, these guys in the U.S. are going to possibly lose because these guys can play.
Yeah.
I don't know what film you've been looking at. And it was kind of like they were like disjointed from reality because they were like reading many of these players. Oh, yeah, he played for the Lakers. He played for Toronto. He played for. And it's just like, well, why do you think they're going to get run off the floor? And as we saw, it took everything USA basketball to win that game.
Yeah, it did.
Right. So it was what was fascinating is that the GM from Toronto, Masai Ujiri, I believe that's the gentleman's name. Fascinating gentleman. Started out as a scout at Charlotte, worked his way up to the position in Toronto, still in Toronto, but very astute at forming relationships, right? And has Giants of Africa is kind of his brand, and really being the bridge of bringing NBA basketball to the continent. I mean, he is a Cameroonian, I believe. And so I'm watching this and I'm saying, wow, this is so amazing to see my life as a high school student and now as a full-grown adult and seeing what's happened with basketball and happening with basketball in Africa. And so, he kind of talked about, the kind of how of, political, the sports, the community, opportunity, and ultimately the young people, right? And giving opportunity. And so, the NBA clearly sees, we have all these Africans who are playing at a very, very high level, Hall of Famers and everything else. He's been very artful of weaving all of that together, building courts across Africa. And his thing is kind of twofold. He's saying, yes, I want to have players to be able to transition over to America. And that's great. And we will continue to do that. But also, I believe the greater opportunity, and I totally agree with him, is bringing basketball on the continent where because the money and the growth is much greater from the youth to indoor, outdoor, all the jobs it creates, the stadiums create. So there's a whole build out of what it can be, which is very much like soccer, right?
Yeah.
What should be happening in soccer, and bringing that energy. And many Black soccer players have been talking about it, and I think they're making moves to bring soccer, because many of the top teams and the top athletes in the European League and the soccer league are African. But there are not as many stadiums as there should be, what I mean? And the infrastructure.
Right.
So,
yeah.
It was crazy. I mean, I was, anyway. So it was just very, very heartwarming and exciting to see with GM Ujiri's Masai is doing, and seeing the kids and the opportunities. And man, you talk about perfect place, perfect time. Because, it's slated that by 2050, 40% of the world's young population in the world will be in Africa. 40%. Right? So it was just amazing. There's a couple other sports pieces I could talk about. Ripken, I'll talk on our next show, but I want to end it with this part with Masai talked about the incident that happened when Toronto won the championship. And when the security guard pushed him, and it was all of that, and made such a bad scene, and terrible, terrible, terrible. And how he handled it with such grace. But he really talked about how important it was for him. And how kind of the conversation was kind of like, he kind of said, as much status and as much whatever I have, I was treated just like the rest of my brothers. And that's a problem.
Yeah.
That's a problem, because here I am, and he said it just humbled me to say the fight continues. The challenges continue. If I could be this person at this level and doing all of this, and I'm in the stadium, I'm dressed in a suit. I mean, why would I need to be assaulted that way? But it just speaks to, we have so much farther to go.
No doubt.
In this dynamic that could have been, if he didn't handle it the way he handled it, it could have been just such a worse situation. Such a great moment. They win the championship, and here you have, these LSS people, as I call them. And here we are, right? So, I stumbled onto this thing, when you're in the sports fan ecosystem, all kinds of sports comes at you and stories come at you. So I'm going to talk about the Andretti family in Formula One. You guys are going to love what and Cal Ripken and their family and what they're doing in baseball, and how baseball's changing, and how they partnered up with a huge hedge fund. And so they've got all these, I won't ruin it for you. I'll save it for next time we talk. But just really talking about the business of sport and the sport of business. And it's fascinating what's going on right now. It is truly fascinating. And so that's what I got for you tonight. But wait till you hear the other stories. Amazing. And I got Sue Ackman, I think that's her name, who's running the WNBA. Fascinating woman. And I got some great stories coming.
Well, them girls have definitely put the league on the map.
Oh yeah.
This rookie crop that came out this year, they're just doing it.
They're just doing it. I mean, they're doing it. I don't know what they're gonna do. Because them girls I'm sitting here looking at my calendar. I'm going to get me to a game.
Yeah, I'm telling you. Yeah.
I mean,
what? At one point, the Liberty were playing at the county center.
Yes, they were.
Yes,
they were. It ain't big enough now. Can't bring them there now. I mean, I've seen Taurasi at the county center playing when that was going on. So it's gonna be fascinating. It's gonna be exciting times. Exciting times for the ladies. And I just love Caitlin, because they said, well, Caitlin, they tried to sub you in for Enrique, and why didn't you go in? She was like, Enrique was cooking. I was enjoying it on the bench. She was cooking. I ain't going in there. I'm enjoying myself. What? Caitlin, man. And I think Shannon Sharp said it best on his podcast. He said, why do people feel you can't love them both? or love all of them. They're great players.
Right.
Why does it have to be I'm Angel's side or I'm Caitlin's side? He's like, Caitlin is awesome. I love her, and I do too. And I love Angel, and I love watching her. And I like to watch the other players too, just as I you know what I'm saying? And it's just people, it's sport. It's sport. You know what I mean?
Is.
And that's why I really don't like the GOAT conversation. LeBron, like what? There's not enough room for everybody to be great. And I'll give you this because you always beat me up on statistics, Joe. As great as Dr. J is, maybe his greatest statistic that I didn't know was average. At a certain point of his career, he was averaging 100 steals and 100 blocks.
Yes. He was a good defender.
I'm like, what?
Yes. Yeah. Oh, yeah. He was a great defender.
I'm like, what? 100 steals and 100 blocks? See, this is why I don't like these GOAT conversations. Because it doesn't make any sense to me. You can have your favorite player. That's cool. But like Kareem, I don't know if anyone will ever do what Kareem did. Win in college and win what he won in the pros.
Yeah.
I don't know if anyone will do that again.
Well, at any rate, I'm looking forward to hearing what you have to say about the Andretti family and Cal Ripken.
Oh, it's gonna be fascinating, my friend. It was just amazing to see Michael Andretti and the history of the family from Italy to Nazareth, Pennsylvania. You got Smarterfan family. You're gonna enjoy it. It was great. It was really, really great.
All right, so Smarterfan family, check us out next Tuesday on another episode of Smarterfan Podcast. Have a good night.
Stay in the game.
Smarterfan.